Here we go. Get ready to start.
Why does it sound like the beginning
Dragon
of like a Reading
Tales,
Rainbow?
Dragon
Yeah, it
Tales.
sounds like you're
It's
already
almost
recording.
time for Reading Rainbow.
Because you
It's almost time to read a rainbow.
To read some rainbows.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
That bad graphic comes across and it says Reading Rainbow. We're like Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
Let's all go read a rainbow.
Butterfly in the sky.
Oh yeah, that's right. I can go twice as high.
Geordie LaForge reading books. Reading
Dragon
Tales. That's right.
Reading Tales.
Reading drag.
Reading dragons. All right.
God,
Welcome to the
this
PDT
This
podcast.
is terrible.
What are we gonna talk about today, dudes?
Today,
we're gonna mess with the format a little bit. You know what? We usually start with a thing, but we're gonna start with a different thing this time.
Today we're gonna talk about the world that's ending in a week. Actually, not a week. 4 days.
Oh, shoot.
3 days.
This is
It's Saturday.
most of this is news to me.
And then we're also going to talk about some games
Hell yeah.
at the request
Yeah,
of
boy.
Our boys.
Mr. Daddy. And then
Thanks, Mr. Daddy.
and then I'm going to tell the story of the week because I started my new job and
Heck
it's
yeah,
been
man.
all sorts of exciting.
There's the high and low of it. Let's dive right in. Are we doing any sport? Probably not.
There's like
There's
short
not
things I wouldn't
much.
mind mentioning that I find funny,
Yeah.
but nothing worth
Let's-
substance.
Nothing worth calling Austin about.
Let's start with sport.
Okay.
I'm talking about all the athletic sports that we love. Our teams always blow it. That's so sad for my team and me. I'm such a big supporter. Please just read the stats. Score more points to win the game. Benjos is over there making the worst calls. He should know better.
Are we gonna call Austin?
We
No.
could call Austin about this,
Okay.
but that'd be pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll give Austin a break.
The week off.
yeah. Congrats, Austin. You got the week off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
I'm gonna bring out a quote.
It's not paid time off.
Some PTO for you.
Yeah, no, it's
not
you
PTO.
PTO.
You took in a sick day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
This is
paid
a
time
pers-
off, but no one makes any money.
this
off
is a
it, so
personnel
congrats.
day for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's a quote from the
Like
left tackle
Krampus.
for the Browns, Joe Thomas.
Nice.
I've been in the huddle one time when a quarterback came in, and I genuinely didn't know who he was, so I had to shake my hand and introduce myself. I thought, I read this, and went, here we are with one of maybe the best left tackle of, like, maybe all time. He's incredible. It's unfortunate he spent his whole career
With the
Browns
Mm-hmm.
in, like, the lowest point of their franchise, which kind of is the whole history of the franchise.
Of the Browns.
Yeah.
It's very brown.
It's very
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious that at one point in his career, they're in the huddle in a game. Not just like, oh, we're at practice, here's a huddle. It's like, yo, we're in a game, middle of the season. A quarterback comes out and he's like,
Who
the hell is this guy?
Hey, Joe Thomas, left tackle.
I'll be protecting you
Yeah.
from a monster who wants to destroy your body.
Right.
You're bad.
And then he's like, oh god, I'm so nervous. Who am I replacing this
What
week?
cracks me up even more is that he's had so many quarterbacks while he's been there that he can't even remember who it was.
Why would you bother it at some point?
Like when they're going through 3 or 4 a year,
Right.
like,
it's like,
can I be quarterback of the Cleveland Browns?
just make sure they don't get the guy who gets the ball at the start of the play. That's pretty much his job. And he doesn't really care who it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying. So this whole time you were pulling up that really interesting quote, and it made me think about this interview that Chris Jones, the new nose tackle for the Chiefs, had. Who he was amazing last week.
Yeah,
Was it like 4 tackles,
2 sacks,
an interception, and like a forced fumble or something like that
Something
too.
like
That Carson Wentz, recovered, but
No.
anyway, he had an awesome interview this last week, And I was trying to find some quotes from it because I would have liked to read it, but guess what? The only quotes that I found were from his Columbine, oh my god! Combine. His Columbine performance.
Combine. We should cut this. Stools in the room, and 3 worked.
In a Quiznos?
Yeah. All the other ones were wobbly, or like the seat was coming off, and so I ate outside on a step.
Whenever Quiznos, like, someone took a Subway, and they backed up a garbage truck full of shit, and emptied it, and they were like, Quiznos.
What if we made it hot?
Ugh. Let's put it through the quick bake oven real quick.
So they put a Subway and some shit through a quick bake oven.
Yeah.
Through an easy bake oven.
It's
Oh, God.
Out came a Quiznos.
Quiznos is just hot Subway.
I was hoping that we'd get some hot takes about Quiznos, and we did.
Hot Subway.
So before the audio engine crashed, I was talking about Chris Jones and this amazing...
Combine.
Yeah, his amazing interview that he had this week, which I couldn't find any clips from, because when I searched Chris Jones' interview, the only thing that returned was after his Combine performance. It was him talking about how his penis fell out of his pants while he was running the 40.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading that when it was like, nose tackle, Chris Jones, had a not safe for work incident at the Combine, and I was like, man, what team's gonna end up with that sad shit? And the Chiefs got him, and now I love him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's really good.
He just happened to have his penis fall out while he was running. It happens to everybody.
I hope not. This is why I don't run.
How's
Yeah,
fantasy?
Actually, great for me. So I posed some trades, but we can talk about that after the podcast because that's specific to me. But I was listening to a couple different fantasy podcasts today.
Yeah.
And they had some real hot takes on some waiver wire pickups. And some of them, in one of my leagues, I have been I already started off bad at wide receiver. And then it went from bad to decimated really quick when what's the dude's name? Jacksonville wide receiver 1, Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Went down.
Cool.
And so then
He's actually a really good receiver.
right. And so now it's T.Y. Hilton who doesn't have anybody thrown to him. Jeremy Maclin who it's not. He's good. He's good. But he doesn't have, a clear wide receiver 1 role in Baltimore. It's kind of
there's 2 of them that are, wide receiver 1, 2.
Yeah.
And then a giant mess of other receivers and running backs
Right.
and tight ends.
And then
Joe
Allen
Flacco's
Robinson.
Dreamland.
And so I picked up Allen Hurns,
Here's
the backup to Allen Robinson in Jacksonville, and he actually put up good numbers for me last week. So I'm sitting with him on my bench now. And they were like, Allen Robinson, pick up that guy. And I was like, way ahead of you. I already did. But out of necessity, not because I'm smart or anything. And then they were like, also pick up this Cleveland wide receiver named Rashard Higgins, who I didn't know anything about, but he's supposed to be pretty all right. And a backup running back. Because I guess, who's the number 1 in Washington right now? Rob Kelly?
Man, I don't even know.
I think it's Rob Kelly, but he, I think, is injured. And so there's this guy named Samaje
Whoa, you can't call him
Pirine, P. Ryan or something. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
P. Ryan.
P. Ryan.
But I picked him up as well.
Rapper from the early 90s.
Oh, and in one of our leagues, I think it's this league. Oh yeah, I picked up Willie Snead because he's coming off suspension after next week.
Let me throw you out one other person who's a sleeper who you can't get because I got him.
Who's that?
Javorius Allen.
Dude, that was one of them today. They were like, pick up this dude.
And you went to pick him up, and then you were like, oh, Andrew already did it.
Yeah.
No, I think he's going to be good because you look at... Sorry.
That's right.
Anyway, I picked him up because I was looking at the Baltimore backfield, everything going on there because their whole offense makes very little sense. With Terrence West was the original number one, and I was like, oh, I'll pick him up in free agency because no one got him in our draft somehow. And then he got injured. And so I was like, well, guess I got to drop him. And then I dropped him, and then I picked up Javorius Allen, who last week put up big numbers, and they said he's going to have a bigger role in the offense.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not in one of our fantasy leagues, go pick up Javorius Allen.
Yeah, they were on that podcast. They talked about Javorius Allen for quite a long time. They were like, man, of like all the people, of all the potential pickups that you could do, like the situation around him, like is kind of okay, but he's like a really talented, running back, and so he's got a lot of upside. But I also picked up. I'm having a lot of tight end blues because I had Greg Olsen in like two leagues. Obviously, he's out for a while. I had and in this other league where I'm decimated at wide receiver, I'm also decimated at tight end because I had Greg Olsen and then Fedorowicz as my backup, and he's also out. He's on injured reserve now. And so I was like, okay, what do I do? And so I picked up Jason Witten. Actually, he was available. And
he's the number one tight end.
Yeah, exactly. Now. It's crazy. Like, I can't believe, and he's so sneaky because he's so old. And you when you think of the Dallas Cowboys, you think of Ezekiel Elliott, Des Bryant. You maybe think about Dak Prescott. Like, Jason Witten has been really.
That's the thing is that
like
Jason
he just
Witten
wasn't that
like,
good last year.
He's like Mr. Dallas.
Yeah,
he was one of my best tight ends last year. Because, like you said, he's sneaky. He goes from weeks where everyone forgets about him for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then he comes out, and because everyone's overlooked him, they've got some no-name corner guarding him. And then he goes out and just grabs, like, 3 touchdowns. And they're not, like, long, like, 40-yard runs.
Yeah.
He just runs a little out route when they get into the red zone. And it's an easy touchdown because he's the size of 2 mountains.
Right.
And so he gets easy touchdowns.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's all I've got. Kobe Fleener's a really good pickup for a tight end, and so is what's the Chargers guy?
Antonio Gates.
No, the other one, the one that is a million years old, Henry.
Dirt? No.
What's his first name? Hunter Henry. That's right. I've got him in 1 or 2 of my leagues.
Let me bring up the only other sports topic we'll talk about today. There was an idea that a certain NBA player had, and he voiced his opinions to the media. And this idea has spread like a disease through the sports world. And that's that the earth is flat and not round. So we talked about Kyrie Irving on lots of episodes because of all his drama this offseason.
Wait, that was Kyrie Irving?
He was one of the guys who's like, I think the earth is flat. And Duke was like, don't talk about that. It looks bad on us because we were your school.
Because we obviously didn't educate you.
Don't say that. And then he was like, nah, I'm pretty sure the earth is flat. And then he gave his reasons that he could really quickly off the top of his head.
Hell yeah.
And they were not great. And then it came out yesterday where they were like, after he's been in Boston for a while after he got traded there, and one of their small forwards was like, he has some interesting points. And then they were like, does that mean you agree with him? And he said, he has some very interesting points. And I was like, the fact that you're now on the fence about this makes me want to hear about it, because I won't be swayed, but I really want to know. Yeah. And then one of the LA Rams players came out, and he's like, oh yeah, Kyrie's 100% right. The earth is flat. And I was like, God. I want to know the actual numbers, how many people that are just not professional athletes believe this. Because it can't just be professional athletes who are like, nah, the earth is flat.
Right. I don't understand where that comes from.
Me
because
neither.
To get to the NFL, you had to go to college.
Dude, but
to go to college, you had to graduate high school.
Yeah, but so many athletes get so good, or some students are so dumb that like a teacher will pass them just so they don't have to deal with it again.
Right.
Which is horrible.
It's a joke.
If you're a teacher and you're doing that, stop listening to the podcast. I don't like you and I don't want your views.
Well, I don't know.
No.
But yeah, I think the education system's a joke. Like, and that's also like, if a kid doesn't want to learn, like, how much can you force him to learn?
Yeah.
This is a good topic for a different podcast.
Right. Let's cut it there.
And
what you
I
were
will happily
saying
discuss that.
on the broader spectrum of flat earthers.
The flat earthers, yeah.
Yeah, I am curious what the actual percentage of the population is
outside of like
that.
celebrities.
We'll have Kyrie Irving.
Well,
on the
no, I
podcast
think
to talk about it.
celebrities included, like, but not looking at celebrities. 'Cause for some reason, it seems like right now there's a
lot.
really high concentration of people who are involved in sports that think this, and I could say that maybe there's a correspondence between like the mean kind of like intelligence of sport guys and like compared to the
Athletes
rest of
are
the
stupid.
population. Right, Alex Smith. Perfect example. Stupid guy.
Ryan Fitztragic.
Valedictorian. Actually, I think Ryan Fitztragic is
the smartest guy
yeah,
in the NFL.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, there are some really, really smart people involved in sports.
Yeah.
Like, but
Crazy smart.
I think we talked about that in a different podcast.
We mentioned it in passing. People are crazy smart in every job.
right.
But
Anyway,
But there's also
yeah,
some
flat
real,
Earth.
some real dummies.
I really like the Hollow Earth conspiracy theory. I think that's great.
I like the
think it's
flat Earth
really
one
funny.
a lot because it's a really way to describe how dinosaurs went extinct. Is that the Earth was flat like a plank of wood, and then a meteor came, hit one end of it, and it just spun the Earth, and all the dinosaurs just kind of flew off.
Is that the theory?
I hope not.
Oh,
but
that's
what
amazing!
I've
I
heard.
love that. It spun it like a plate. Just
Yeah. Just
And
spun
then
it,
somehow it slowed,
yeah.
it slowed down.
and we still find fossils.
Right,
No, shh.
dude.
It's fine.
But okay, so how does the giant turtle correlate to the flat Earth thing?
It's
like,
different.
but that
completely
always
different.
goes hand in hand. I
Both of
feel
them.
like
It's
I feel like 90%
forget
of
what
the time that I
religion it
ever
was
see
believes that
those.
the Earth is on the back
Yeah,
of a giant
that
turtle.
is. I'm gonna say something, and it's probably gonna be wrong. I think it's Hinduism. It
Let's
says on the back of the turtle.
fact check this real quick.
Go for it.
Not to like take a stab at you, but I'm just legitimately
No,
curious what religion.
The more I think about that, I don't think it's right.
Giant turtle
It could be
religion.
Well, I think it's from like Discworld too.
Yeah, it's Hindu.
It's Hindu. Boom.
Oh,
Yep.
you got it.
Nice.
Wait, which is similar to that of the world and world serpent occurs in Hindu mythology. Nice.
And then there's the world serpent, and the
Norse mythology, yeah.
is Norse.
World elephant.
Which
and
is a
it
little
has
different because it's
the
him
tree.
wrapped around
The
the whole
roots of a tree.
Yeah. That's
That's Nidhogg.
Norse mythology is really cool. We should have
We could talk about
A different podcast.
We should talk
we
about
should have a
mythologies.
podcast about mythology.
Someone write these down.
I
actually
okay,
do
so I
want
want to
write a
have
lot of these down.
I want to have I want the next D&D campaign that we do, yours, to be a podcast. And I want
Interesting.
I want
It to be a separate
that to be a podcast. Yeah, it'd be separate.
Which would be cool as all get out.
Yeah.
Like
I've been listening to just a playthrough and it's
we'd publish
wildly
it on
entertaining.
PDT TV. We'd publish it on our YouTube channel.
Oh, we
Put it
did?
under- no, we could.
Oh,
And
yeah,
we'd
yeah.
Put it under a different
Yeah.
playlist.
Yeah.
Which we'd probably call D&D, or come up with a different name to avoid copyright.
G&G.
G,
Right.
where Torrin
Right.
says GG, and none of us have a good time.
He just says, "All right, you've made your characters. The
A
meteor
dragon
hits the
comes out.
Earth,
Yeah.
spins the flat world, and you all
You
fly
all
off.
fly off.
GG."
So,
And that's how we all feel.
so similar to the flat Earth, there's a numerologist who believes that the world is ending on Saturday.
Ooh.
Tight. I like numerology. Like, just
oh, boy.
it's fun.
It's absolute nonsense, but
It's fun to me.
great.
Like, I
So-
think it's like wildly entertaining.
So this particular one, based on 2 articles I read, comes from Luke. It's a combination of scripture in Luke and scripture in Revelation and astrology.
What a terrible combination of things
Right.
mixed together.
Right. So
Not that I'm saying
Sounds
Bible
kinda like
shouldn't be
the,
mixed with Bible, but like,
astrology doesn't go with anything because astrology is nonsense.
yes.
That's an interesting topic. I actually,
We
yeah.
can talk about it a little bit because it's somewhat relevant.
So I think it's funny when people like, I've encountered this a lot in like the sort of like punk and DIY community that I was involved with in Florida and Tallahassee, where like
Okay.
they obviously shit on all over these these worldviews and religions that, I mean, mainly Christianity, because let's be honest, a lot of Christians do suck. But anyway, those same people will get like really, really into astrology, and I'm just like, man, what the hell? Like, this is.
How did you get here?
Yeah, how do you just like immediately shut down this one school of thought, which is absurd, like on its face, right? If you actually do some digging, I mean, it's what I believe, but like
there's like a clear logic to it,
right?
Yes.
But with astrology,
and then astrology, I'm sure there are levels to it that sort of make sense, but like, how can you just completely write off one and not like completely write off the other? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what amuses me about a lot of it, where it's a lot of, well, I can't believe you'd believe in this. That makes you a crazy person,
right?
And I'm like, well, what do you believe in?
Now I'm gonna go burn incense to the sign of the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like I'm gonna go sacrifice a goat to the world pig. Like,
the world pig. That sounds badass. Or even just like, man, let's look at my zodiac symbol and like get really in depth into how this applies directly to me.
Hot take of the week: the stars and planets will have no effect on your immediate life.
Yeah.
Now hold on.
Unless it's Earth.
This numerologist says.
So yeah, now let's go back.
In 3 days.
Hold on, real quick. There's one more thing that I want to touch on, and we're going to come back and talk about it in a later podcast. But astrology was used in the Bible, not by biblical, not by even like Jews or whatever, to lead them to this other thing. Like, I just think that's an interesting avenue of thought.
You can use the stars as a way of, like, a map.
Yeah, right. And I'm not saying
navigating with the stars since, like, the dawn of time.
But I think it's more. I think it's more of like, if we're talking like that kind of thing, like God using other schools of thought to lead to this other thing.
Yeah.
Like, because there's
Paul
no way, like,
Paul's
they were
really
like, oh man, the prophecy, we're gonna follow this star, and then it's like, oh, that actually led you to God.
No,
that's
you know
crazy.
The story of Paul and the Areopagus?
No, not
so
off the top of my head.
Paul is in, I can't remember what city it is, but there's this big open space, like it's sort of a market.
The moon.
No.
Oh.
It's this big market in the city, and basically there's all these shrines to the different gods, and there's one that is to this god, this unknown god that people sacrifice to in case they like
missed a god
to cover their bases.
Right.
And so Paul walks up and is like, this one? Yeah, this one's really good. And he points to the unknown one. And is like, see, this one is the one true God. Like, you should pray to this one because this is the right one.
Right.
And so everyone's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
holy
great.
crap.
Yeah,
knows what he's talking about.
How do we do that?
The stranger.
Yeah.
It's the stranger.
Paul walks into towns and is like, let me rock your worldview. The world pig that you
the world
follow,
pig?
it's actually this guy named Jesus. And they're all like, oh my gosh.
Pork isn't kosher.
Don't eat it.
All right. Anyway, what were you... The numerology thing in the end of the world. I want to hear about this.
So, this guy named Daniel Mead, I think.
A good mead.
Daniel, he's David Mead, I'm sorry. He claims a verse in Luke 21, 25-26 is a quote which apparently matches the date of the Great American Solar Eclipse, then Hurricane Harvey, and the flooding in Texas. And September 23rd was pinpointed using code from the Bible and a date marker from the pyramids in Egypt.
Dude, I gotta tell my grandma. She's gonna want to leave out the Left Behind series.
I love that was the go-to. It's not like, oh, that's interesting. It's just, I gotta tell my grandma.
My grandma's gonna be so excited.
Actually, she's going to be... I'm not sure when she gets back. She's at a fish fry right now in the Ozarks.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that sounds crazy.
How it's gonna happen is that there's a 12th planet called Nibiru.
Ooh. Who named that?
I don't know.
Some guy named Nibiru.
Zechariah
Is it its Christian name?
Sitchin.
Satanic name.
The planet is home to aliens called the Anunnaki, and
Tight.
they will God, this is so crazy. So on the 23rd, the planet is supposed to get very close, and that's going to trigger, according to thesun.co.uk, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, and earthquakes.
I really hope
That's
all three
geostorm.
Three of those things
Just happen to happen.
But, like, not where anyone dies, they just happen somewhere in the world, and everyone's like, oh, here it comes! Here it comes!
Wait, and they like start looking around, like,
Where's the
But-
planet?
What day does Geostorm come out? Does that come out on September 23rd?
Man,
Because
I
if
don't know, 'cause that movie
Geostorm
sounds
comes
bad.
out, oh, it looks terrible. If Geostorm comes
I
out on
hope this-
September 23rd, this shit's confirmed.
I hope this guy, what is his name?
Straight
Like,
up.
was it
David Mead.
I hope he's just a marketing consultant for that movie. And he started this to research the movie.
man.
And they're
Geostorm.
like, David, you messed up. You messed up, man. You missed the mark real
we
bad.
said that Geostorm's coming out. The world is not ending.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like the next thing in viral marketing. Like for it, we had the clown scare last year.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh man, numerology world ending.
Go see Geostorm.
Go see Geostorm.
Go watch a movie not about the world ending.
Yeah, go watch a movie not about numerology, but about like the corruption of like a stupid weather control machine or whatever.
No, it's fine.
The U.S. already has that, according to
Yeah, HARP.
Reddit, probably.
It's true. According to Muse.
Yeah.
Reddit believes a lot of things.
So, Revelation 12 describes the beginning of what is known as the rapture and the second coming of Christ.
Never
The
heard of
passage reads, "And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains and the agony of giving birth."
Sounds really bad.
In the passage, the woman is Virgo, and on September 23rd, both the sun and the moon will be in Virgo, as will the planet Jupiter.
They're gonna be inside this woman.
Inside
Ooh.
the sign Virgo.
This woman.
And
Sexy eyebrows again. Gotta bring up that Nala that Nala screen cap. Ugh.
the one where she's like, yeah. No,
The-
we won't talk about
Dubia.
that.
The sexy put your lion penis in me eyes. Sorry.
There aren't that many of those. So
Lion penises?
No. That look, I mean.
Oh.
It's a very specific one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So all that's going to happen on the 23rd. But then, basically every branch of Christianity has just called this absurd.
Why does this whole thing sound like Galaxy Quest?
Dude, I wish it were Galaxy.
Oh man, I wish it was Galaxy Quest too.
Look
But-
at all the technical terms he's used for planets and aliens, and you
Did
can't
you
look
say
me straight in the face.
The planet was called Nibiru.
Sounds like it's from Galaxy
N-I-B-I-R-U.
Quest.
Yeah.
The aliens, whatever it was, sound like they're from Galaxy Quest.
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki.
Galaxy
Galaxy
Quest.
Quest.
So,
Tim
there
Allen.
was a guy...
Yeah, the guy's name is Tim Allen, for Pete's sake.
It's not Mead, it's Tim Allen.
Yeah, his nickname was Mead in high school because he drank a lot of mead at parties. So it's Tim Mead Allen.
And Sigweave is there somehow.
As always, in space.
So, this
Sigweave
guy...
in space.
This guy who's also an astrologist basically looked at what he was saying and was like, this happens like every 12 years. I don't know why he's making a big deal out of
Wait,
it.
the world ends every 12 years? is what
The
he's
like
saying?
certain alignments
No, a
that
lion
are
penis
happening.
happens every 12
God,
years.
stop saying lion penis.
You just said it.
yeah,
fucker.
I did. Stop
Gotcha.
it.
Gotcha.
I wanna
Roped you into
die.
that goof right there.
So yeah, this apparently happens every 12 years
Mm.
and is of no concern to me or you or anyone.
Because the stars and planets will have no major effect upon your life.
Hey.
Unless that planet is Earth.
Right.
And you live on it.
Unless somehow Earth
Messes up.
increases its gravity like a millionfold and sucks itself into the sun.
It could happen.
And that's pretty much the only way
In which
the
case
Earth
we'll
is
be
gonna-
alive for literally no seconds enough to know what's going on, because we'll die instantly.
Absolutely. The only people who will maybe have a shot are the people who are on the dark side. And then it will get to there, and then they'll be dead.
Well, nice
I
knowing you guys.
It's all
guess.
very exciting.
feel like if I worked at NASA and all this happened, I would just be like, okay, There's no planet headed
Yeah.
towards Earth.
NASA
Can we just-
immediately responded and was like, "This is nonsense. Don't listen to him."
They're like, there's no planet
Right.
headed towards Earth.
Right.
We've
Dude,
known
are you
about
kidding
that
me? NASA
hundreds
can't
of years
possibly
ago.
know that because they don't have any budget.
They
Thanks,
have
Obama.
enough budget to know. They have enough budget to have a telescope.
They have
Big
enough
ass
budget to
telescope.
look outside.
No, they can't. With a telescope
No,
from Sam's
with
Club.
their eyes. They wait for a clear day and then they go, "Nah, he's wrong."
They
Wait,
look out. They're
who are
just
you
like,
gonna trust? Tim, Meade, Allen, or some NASA guy with a science machine
Some
from Sam's Club?
NASA
That-
guy.
a sky-looking device. You gotta be kidding me.
Sky
NASA.
looking device is my
NASA.
favorite band.
Sky-looking device. So yeah, so the world's ending on Saturday.
Keep a heads up for that.
Yeah.
Try to subscribe to the podcast before that happens, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to make us feel good
make me feel
before the
good.
end.
Yeah.
Give me some confidence before I die.
Yeah, we need you.
So started my new job this week.
Yeah, tell me about it. I want to hear about it.
Monday was orientation, and that was very dull because it's orientation and it's always dull. And sat next to a guy who pretty much didn't want to be there.
Was it you?
Sounds like you, yeah.
That's why we bonded so well.
Nice.
And then across from a woman who I think may have stumbled in there.
On
And
accident.
gotten
Yeah.
hired on
And
accident.
like, yeah,
And you're like, wait,
because-
why did I interview for this? I could have just showed up to orientation.
right. Because she had this gigantic purse. And like the first thing that happened, they were like, we need proof of like identification to make sure you are you, and to make sure that you can finish your I-9 form, and to make sure that
Let me guess.
Then before you get your picture taken for your
Let me
for
guess
your
really
badge.
quick. She didn't have a driver's license. She pulled out her birth certificate.
no,
Oh.
she
Pulled
spent
out her passport.
she spent 20 minutes unpacking her purse
Oh.
to find her driver's license, but it was bent in half,
Oh.
which I thought was weird.
She got
But-
mad that day.
But in the contents of her purse was maybe like a 6-inch stack of mail, a bag of oranges,
Yeah, I'm with
a
you.
bag
Scurvy.
of
You gotta
a
keep
bag
scurvy
of
away.
Chex
I'm
Mix.
still with you. Sometimes you get hungry.
Like,
Yeah, just
a
check
Just
it.
a little
whole-
sneaky snack.
Like a gigantic thing of makeup that was open when she took it out of her purse.
Well, maybe she had to
Sometimes you
do
put
it
makeup
on the
your
run.
own. You gotta put makeup
she
on
had
your
to-
oranges.
Do it on the run.
Before you peel them.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine, instead of, and you know what, maybe that's the healthy solution to her mental problem,
like
is that, like,
season-
she could put makeup on a person and then
mental problem.
and then peel, she could be putting makeup on a person's face and then peel that person's face.
It's like
But
seasoning
then-
your dinner.
Yeah, but then
Put it on an
instead
orange,
it's like,
then
alright,
peel it.
I'll do an orange. I'll put makeup on this
I'll
orange.
do an
and then-
But-
Ugh.
So
Don't Google that.
it started at 8:30, and between 8:30 and 11, she ate all the food that was in her purse.
So a whole bag of oranges.
A whole bag of Chex Mix, like a whole, not like a huge bag of oranges, but like it was like the small ones, and it was like a gallon Ziploc
It's like
bag
the cuties.
that had like, it probably had like 8 of them,
Oh my god.
and she ate all of them.
Is she okay?
She ate the entire
Dude,
bag
the
of
inside
Chex
of her
Mix.
mouth's probably really raw.
There
from
was-
all
She,
the
like-
acidity.
There was another.
Was it
There was some
SpaghettiOs?
other food item that was in there that I can't
I
remember.
feel like SpaghettiOs go with
But
this
then
lunch perfectly.
we were
I love
filling out
SpaghettiOs,
paperwork.
and you're right.
We were filling out paperwork, and they brought in lunch because they
She got
provided it for
oranges
orientation.
on her
And she was
paperwork.
like, her hands were covered in oranges. So she was like,
Disease.
I can't fill out this paper.
My
Too many
hands are
oranges.
oranges.
And so food came in for lunch because they catered in lunch from Minsky's, which was
Oh, sick.
fine.
This is good, really good.
It's pretty good. And she like finished her paperwork, and then she's like, I'm so hungry. And I was sitting there like,
How? You ate so much?
is this the only food you get today? Like, I didn't want to say that, but I was like,
It was a genuine concern you had.
yeah, I was like, are you going to be okay after this?
Like, do I need to buy you food?
right.
You want to...
Like, I can do that. There's a Pizza Hut, like, down there. I can, like, I can get a gift card to Pizza Hut for you. But then she had,
You didn't
like,
want to give her cash? Like $10 for pizza?
I want to buy it on, like, spend it on crack or something.
Oh, okay. I see. So she was
crack.
homeless.
$10 worth of crack.
$10 worth of crack.
So did she seem
Just
like a
enough
crack
to get
lady?
high.
Could I get a tenner of crack, please?
Go to your local crack dealer. Can I get
So-
I got a tenner. What
I got
will you give me?
I got a cool 10 right
He's
now.
gonna give you a bunch of oranges.
So after we finished paperwork, there was pizza out and salad and breadsticks. She had 4 pieces of pizza
Oh my god.
and 2 breadsticks and like a plate of salad. And I had like 2 pieces of pizza because I had a bowl of Reese's Puffs
Nice.
that morning.
Nice. That had been expanding in your stomach all day.
Yes, actually, but I had just the dankest dump when I got home. But
Dankest Dump is
Dankest
the
Dump.
best
It's a good
job.
band name. It's a great
Dankest
skunk.
dump. Dankest dump. Peanut butter chocolate
Eat
flavor.
'em up, eat 'em up.
Peanut butter chocolate flavor for the Dank Dump
The
is not
dankest
good.
dump. No, not good at all. Oh
Not
man.
good.
So yeah, that was very concerning. But
Yeah. Did you find out any more about her today?
no, I haven't seen her because she worked.
She quit.
She probably didn't come back. She was like,
She stumbled in
"I'm
one day,
only here for
couldn't
the
find her
food."
way. I was here to eat my oranges.
I just wanted a cool place to rest my barking dogs, and then I got free pizza.
I heard
On
there was.
accident.
I heard there was paperwork to fill out here.
And they're like,
"Did you want
you
to?"
apply?
I brought my oranges.
and they're like, go find a seat. Here's some paperwork.
Yeah, you know what? We had a no-show for this orientation, so you're hired.
So your name is now Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria Smith.
Right. And so she. And so the next day, I had like a training class in the morning, and then I met some people I'm working with. But today, I had a class about alternative investments. Do you guys know what alternative investments are?
Pyramid schemes.
No.
Oh, okay. It just sounded like a pyramid scheme.
So I
That
mean,
would be
that
an
would be an
alternative
alternative investment. But we talked about real estate investment, something, REIT, and let me explain. So when you invest in something, how do in your mind how does that work?
You go to the business factory, put the money down, say, I'm going to invest.
I'm invested.
And then you get 10 times the money
invest. Yes. So essentially,
back. But you have to be rich.
If you have like a mutual fund, you spend a certain amount of money on shares of something, and then at any time you can sell those shares, and either you make money, or you break even, or you incur a loss.
I did that in GTA 5.
Right. This is the perfect example. So, and
Same exact
Corn
thing.
basically works at GTA 5.
an REIT is something like for example a building. If I bought shares of like a building, so it's basically I have partial ownership of a building.
Can you do that?
In some, if it's available as an REIT, yes,
houses.
Sick.
that's possible. If it's made into an REIT.
Nice.
So, or a REIT, as we call them.
Oh, I was going to call it right.
Right. So how this works is that I would pay, I would buy 100 shares. I would buy 100 shares of, ownership of apartment complex or something.
Okay.
And I would make in dividends a portion of the rent payments.
You guys call those divvies?
Sometimes, yeah, when we're feeling
Scored.
When you're feeling saucy.
when it's spicy on the floor.
On the trade room deadline floor.
Yeah.
Is it just
On
me,
the
or is
cutting
this
room floor.
Trade room, deadline, cutting room floor, kind of spicy.
Yeah. Let's just say you're supposed to sell.
Yeah, that's the
when
opening
it's
bell,
high.
actually. That's like,
They're like, all right, time to do spicy.
get your businesses ready. 3, 2, 1.
business.
To do your business.
Time to business. So
That's why I'm getting a business degree.
Yeah.
Because I like horns.
I like to be a business boy. So you're making a certain amount of money over a period of time. So
Okay.
if someone pays rent, they get a portion of that. Or
Okay.
the person who invested gets a portion of that.
Yeah.
So if you are done, if you want your money back,
Yeah.
you don't get to get your money
Get your
back.
money back?
The way this works
Wait, what?
with an with a REIT
This sounds
is that the way this works is that either you have already set a period of time, which says after a certain amount of time that the shares are liquefied and I'm given back the money. So either it means that like you didn't make any money at all and you broke even, or you made you made money over a very long period of time, but you basically just get your money back.
Okay.
Or you can sell your shares at a loss to someone else.
Early before the
Yes.
okay.
Theoretically.
I see.
Because
Less than
because basically the options are you can get it, you can immediately liquefy it, or you can liquefy it after a certain amount of time and you break even plus whatever you happen to make in dividends.
Okay.
Or those dividends are automatically reinvested into something else. So whether it's further shares of whatever it is you're investing in or something else, that's up to the people who are running the REIT. So you basically have no control over your money.
Right. You can't, once you give them the money, unlike regular stocks, you can't just be like, sell, sell, sell.
Right.
Because you don't get to do that.
Right.
Okay.
So even if it's like I
get it.
I bought 600,000.
Grab the business boy.
I'm a new
Right.
business baby boy.
I'm a
So
new
let's say-
woman business boy.
Let's say I bought $600,000 or $6 million worth of shares in like a
Thanks,
building
and that's
or
a lot of
a
bankroll
business.
right there. That's a lot of bankroll.
Let's say I bought $6 million worth of shares in a building.
Corporate Woods.
Or a
Congrats.
business. And that business was sold
Okay.
for $3 million.
Oh, big
I
loss.
would get $3 million.
What?
Yes.
That sucks.
Wait, but
Yes.
but you're the only person who's invested in this
Theoretically,
case.
yes.
Okay, I see. That sucks. I mean, that's like
Right.
a big gamble.
Sounds like you're gonna at your job have to deal with people who are gonna be less than happy.
That's like, I feel like that's a lot
Sorry,
more
dude.
pure form of betting. Like, that's
The more
Invest in this
So
bad business.
we were
Yeah,
taking this
okay,
class.
you lost.
We were taking this class, and he explained what this was, and I was just sort of like my head tilted as he explained more and more.
This is really immoral.
And I got
like this.
I got to the end of the class, and I was like, and I raised my hand, and he was like, "Hey, do you have a question?" And I was like, "Why would anyone do this?" And they were like, "That's a great question. We haven't figured it out yet." I was like,
oh, that's awesome.
so basically, it's possible that it'll work out in the very, very long term. And I found out, I was talking to my dad, and he's like, I have some money in a REIT, and he has money in like something that's leased out, and so he gets part of the lease payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's not intending to liquefy that at any point.
Okay.
But even
There's a
then,
small source
even
of
then, I was
income.
like, right. And even then, I was like, so what are you going to do when you want to liquefy it? And he's like, I don't know. Right.
That's about right.
And
I
so,
was really just using that money to kind of put it through the wash. Through some,
Right.
I acquired that money through some rather seedy means, and I needed to get rid of
probably
it.
a lot of dead relatives.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I shouldn't
okay.
have laughed at that. I
So,
might laugh a little bit.
Don't sexy eyebrows that.
That wasn't me. Just let the record show that was Nala wanting that lion peen. Not
So,
me.
the other option, you can sell them to a different. So, if I take my shares and I would sell them to you, Graham, you would say, well, if you qualify, or if you are suitable in these three ways, whether it's like, you meet these standards, it's a certain amount, you can have them at this price. But if I'm looking to sell my shares, and you're looking to buy my shares, and I want to sell them, is there any reason that you're going to give me my exact amount of money back?
I mean, no, not if I'm in control of that price point.
Right. And so if I bought $10,000 worth of shares, which would be typically they're like $10 a share, and so that would be 1,000 shares, then you could say, I'll buy them back, but for $7 a share.
And then you say, okay,
Right, because
Why?
I want it's
I need some cash now.
right. That's the thing. And so, or you can go to the person that you've invested in and say, I want to sell back my shares, and they would say, you're in breach of this contract that we laid out, so you can do that, but you can have them for $7, something like that. So it's a guarantee that you're going to not get the exact amount of money back.
So you're going to take a loss.
It's almost a guarantee, unless you have it for like years.
But what's the
years?
Yeah, so the deadline is always really long for like when you can extract
if you're
your
smart,
money.
yes.
Okay. So like in that scenario, say you buy like this new or some shares in this new apartment complex that's going up or whatever.
Right.
And the deadline for it can be arbitrary, right? Depending on how people. So they say it's like 10 years after the complex has been up.
Right.
And guess what? Rent rates have gone up and like the property value has increased, and so now your shares are worth more. But until the 10 years, you can't do anything if you want to make money.
You'd be making money off of rent payments and the markup of the value. So the rent payments, you're making a portion of that, and the more the business, like the more the value of the property goes up, you get portions of that.
Okay.
Because it's basically, we valued it at this and you invested this, so anything that's over this is gravy and you get portions of that.
Gotcha. But I am, like, my main question is that after that 10 years, you do have the option to, like, get your money back.
You get the exact amount of money back.
Oh, it's the exact amount of money.
Theoretically.
Okay.
This is my understanding of it. If someone listening is, like, a professional custodian of REITs who's gonna just leave an angry comment telling me how I'm wrong. But my understanding of it is that there's a set contract that says that at this point, after this amount of time, the money, I get what I put in back. But I've also gained
over the course of
stuff.
The 10 years. So like
Right.
you put in $10,000 and then you make say $500 or $1,000 each year for those 10 years, and then at the end of it you get to take your $10,000 out, and you're over the course of 10 years $10,000 richer in the red,
which is why
or the black,
this
rather.
is you said
I said the black,
right?
That's the one.
So this is like a rich person's investment, because this means that, because if you have like some people play the stock market and can be really successful and not have a lot of liquid cash, where it's like they have a certain amount of income and they just invest a little bit and then they sell it as soon as they can and it gets some return.
Right.
And that's mutual funds and stock brokering. But this is, I have plenty of money, so I'm going to invest this portion of my plenty of money and gain on it.
Yeah,
and never be in trouble.
I know that I'm not going to have to touch this $10,000-$20,000 for 10 years, so I might as well put that here and make another 10 or 20 over the course of 10 years.
Right.
Okay.
And so this would be, so if you are like, if you have $30,000 to your name and you invest $10,000 of it, you could be in the hole. If that $20,000 runs out cash, quick, then you have to say, "Hey, listen,
I'm gonna have to take this hit.
Right,
I need to buy my shares back." And they're like, "How does $2 a share sound?"
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, "That sounds really bad, but I have to do it because I need money."
Sounds bad.
It's like a shitty. It's like I guess it's not. That's not. I was gonna say it's like a shitty pawn shop for business.
Why put yourself in
this
position where like.
This is still my question.
Long term, it could work out if you're part of a small percentage. But if you lose money and you're like, I'm in a tight spot, which can happen to anyone for any given reason, you're putting yourself in a position to fail. Because
how this usually who does these REITs are, they're not like the owner of the apartment complex wouldn't do this. They have like a custodian or some sort of person who's doing this on their behalf. And so they take any liquid cash that they have that they don't need to give out and they immediately reinvest it. And so whether it's like 2 people have this many shares, 3 people have this many shares, as soon as they take those dividends, they reinvest them for more shares. And so eventually they have gained shares that they get back.
Okay.
But the way that it... But if you... but yeah, if you ever get strapped for cash... Oh, well, and so the... I lost my train of thought. So if you, like you said, if you ever get strapped for cash, you're in trouble because because the company that's doing the investing has no liquid cash. And so they can't say, well, we'll just give you money from this. It's just there is no money to give.
Yeah.
So we have to find that money and then give it to you, which is why you're going to get nothing.
Yeah, compared to what you put in.
Right.
Seems dumb.
Seems really dumb.
Well, I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon.
Because I don't have a ton of money.
So everybody watch out. Time for the questions of the week.
Really?
Yeah.
Because before we do that, I have one thing to bring up that broke while we were recording.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Sports-wise.
Breaking news.
The
hear what I
alert
said
that came up to my
Breaking
phone,
news.
which I looked
Right.
into a little bit while we were talking about this, Roger Goodell's extension issues have been resolved. The deal is getting done.
No.
Which means Roger Goodell, despite his incompetence and being an ass, is probably getting what looks like to be a 7-year extension
Oh my
through
god.
2024. Well, they say each year's salary has gone higher and higher for him. They can't report on his bonuses, which he gets from all the corrupt garbage that he does. He's making $30 to $45 million each year for the past 7 years.
But everyone
That's probably
hates
going to
him.
get higher. Exactly. I thought it wasn't going to get done because the owners vote on if he gets an extension.
Yeah.
Who has he pissed off in the last year? The owner of the Patriots and the owner of the Cowboys, the two most influential owners in the league.
Right.
And then somehow, by probably shelling out $30-some million to people, he's probably allowed himself to get a new deal by just giving out money or other things. He's managed to get himself an extension that says it's probably going to be 2024.
That's garbage,
But
man.
what has broken since then is the NFL Players Association said if this is true in the year 2021, they plan to do a strike or a lockout, which means that Roger Goodell would for sure lose his job. Because anyone who's a commissioner and the whole sport goes, we're so upset, no one's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
And just no one shows up to do their job. Goodell can put out as many fines as he wants.
Right. That's not going to make a difference.
How's he going to make any
Yeah.
profit if no one shows up?
At one single moment, they have nothing. Like, no product. Then.
Yes.
Yeah.
If all the players decide, well, we're just going to not show up this year for the games. We'll go to training camps, practices, but we will not show up until he's gone. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
The owners will go, you costed me, in 1 week, millions of dollars.
Could be probably billions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Depending on the team, absolutely billions.
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, one, how are the owners of the NFL teams this dumb to renew him, despite fans and players and most executives going, this guy is a corrupt, horrible human.
Yeah.
Get him out of office. But instead, for whatever reason, they've decided to keep him in, which I imagine has a lot of underhanded things we'll never hear about.
Yeah.
Probably.
With a lot of owners, because it takes quite a few to get rid of or to keep him. So,
Well, that's upsetting.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Roger Goodell and you listen to this podcast, send me an email so I can write you back an email telling you why you are wrong.
Yeah. Send us your address so that we can throw grapes at your house.
Yeah. I don't care where you live. We will
Not
find
eggs.
you and throw
That's
grapes.
destructive.
We don't want to
Grapes.
destroy you. We just want to make your house have rotting fruit.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the podcast and want to email us,
Yeah.
email us at pdtpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And, send us ideas.
Tweet at us. Yeah.
Tweet at us,
Do
too.
things.
Send us all sorts of things because we'll use it on the show.
Like
Maybe,
we've been
depending
using
on what it
Austin
is.
things and
Tom things.
Daddy Tommy things.
Yep.
Although we didn't talk about
Tommy's idea.
Tommy's idea.
But we'll
this
get to it
week.
next week.
Yeah, I really do want to have a game themed podcast. I'm kind of in my head cooking up a design for a game table that I want to build. We can talk about that maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd like to collaborate with you guys on a design.
I'm
But
down.
for this week, I want to give the shout out to the person who gave us our idea about the end of the world happening. Shout out to Austin Hall, who is at Austin_92_Hall. Give him a follow.
Yeah, follow
He's a
him.
good boy.
He's our sports correspondent.
Yeah, when you listen to the episodes and you like the sports segment where we have a guy on the phone, that's Austin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He
Give him
trimmed
a
his
follow.
beard.
Yeah,
So
For his lady.
yeah, probably.
For his
Congrats.
finance.
finance.
Question from the
So
week,
question from
real
last
quick.
week. Question from last week is what is something you hate but wish you loved? That was from last week.
I think I'll still go with like
Whiskey. Straight.
whiskey neat. Yeah. Like I in thinking about it a little bit, like I realized I drink it sometimes. Like if there's
just
a
wish you
nice
liked it more.
if there's a nice bourbon, like I
Yeah.
will drink that neat sometimes. I just wish that I enjoyed it more than I did. It's kind of like I'm like I know that this is like a refined sort of thing and I want to look like a fancy guy and so I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. And it's like a special occasion, so like I'm just going to play into that and have a good time with it. And the taste isn't like mind-blowing to me. I don't hate it, but like I wish that I actually legitimately loved it and I just don't. But I'll update you on how my taste acquiring goes later.
The only thing that comes to mind recently, because a lot of the people that I work with smoke, is the
Sorry.
smell of cigarette smoke. And I don't wish that I loved it. I wish that I could tolerate it.
You wish that you hated it less.
Right, because I really can't stand it. Because even I asked a question about something on my computer today, and one of the guys came over, and it was just like
And you heard
the scent washed over me.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't remember what I said. I think I said different ethnicities of food, in
You
particular.
gotta be careful how you say. Every time you
I
say
said
that, I'm like different.
different
I know.
ethnicities of food.
I know,
It's
but
different.
like
How about
It's funny.
different cuisines?
yes,
Which is
okay,
also
that's
fine.
Does that work?
Both
Different-
are fine.
different,
It's just one is concerning for
yeah.
half a
Different
second.
ethnicities.
End
of
sentence.
food. Different. How do you say that? Like different food genres, maybe. Isn't that what you
Genres?
said? It's. I mean, that doesn't apply exactly.
What is
but-
your meal? A movie?
Yeah. I consider
like
every meal a
The
movie.
flavor of action.
Yeah, that's spaghetti.
My favorite flavor is comedy.
SpaghettiOs.
Also SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs
Horror is
are
also
action.
spaghetti. No,
Yeah.
horror is Taco Bell.
Horror is maybe Arby's.
That roast beef.
The meat.
I feel like Taco
mountain.
Bell's kind of a thriller. That might be horror. I ate Taco Bell
Don't
today.
give it that. It's
Parallels.
more suspense.
Yeah.
Parallel. Am I gonna get
What's
diarrhea?
No, it's more. When is it gonna happen?
yeah, suspense.
When is my stomach gonna overturn?
So it was
When
yours.
what was
I gave a
yours?
lot
Yeah.
of thought to it this week, but I've eaten nothing today, and I had about a half a glass worth of whiskey or bourbon or whatever it was.
Yikes.
So I can't think straight. So we're gonna move on.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next question for this week is, what's your guilty pleasure song?
I
What's
thought
the
you were just
song?
gonna say guilty pleasure, and I got real excited about
I-
talking to
I-
you about my demons.
That's another one
Just
that
kidding.
I can.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
It's gonna be
It's
later.
that basic weeaboo
So
shit.
what's your song? I love.
This is
Never mind.
I've really like leaned into this a lot. I love the song No Scrubs.
TLC. It's a good
yeah.
song.
It's I don't really, that's not really guilty at this point, but like the whole idea of that song is like really stupid.
I mean, it was
Just like, not that that's like a unique topic for a song, like that pervades a lot of like pop songs and stuff. I just think it's really dumb, but love that song, and I guess I'm not that guilty about it. So
What's your actual guilty pleasure?
maybe I will say,
pleasure.
ooh, a lot of Proto Men stuff.
Protoman?
Proto Men. I couldn't go to a party and be like, Proto Men's my favorite band, and then people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's a Mega Man themed band. And they're like,
But realistically, let's play out that scenario.
Okay.
You walked into a party and you've been given the opportunity to announce what your favorite band is, and you say
Protoman, which isn't true.
and everyone else goes,
What?
who?
I say, it's a Mega Man themed band.
And then they go,
Oh, Mega Man. He was on that one Super Smash
Oh.
Bros. Game, right?
Mega Man, he was, oh, that's neat.
And I just leave the party.
Hey, Graham goes home in his set.
No, I wouldn't be. You know what? I think thinking about this, like, I don't think that I really hang out with people who
Aren't aware of what
Who-
of what Mega
no,
Man
of
is.
just like who care about
I
or
mean, you're
like
probably right.
who ascribe enough meaning to like a certain like I can't think of a single person that I really hang out with that's like, man, you're a loser for listening to that. Like anything that I listen to. And or maybe it's just that I don't care. Maybe that's
also
it.
probably
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Sorry.
no, it's not that people won't. It's that I don't care.
It's
Yeah.
me. I realize I don't care at all.
Yeah, just don't give a shit. So maybe that's my
Uh,
answer.
Andrew, what's yours?
Mine, I feel like, depending on the audience, what I would either be guilty about or not. For a lot of people, like, of a younger age, I listen to a lot of classical and a lot of jazz music when I'm trying to, like, focus or
Sure.
just calm down. And so when I talk to people who are, like, younger, they're like, some kind of...
You're a
kinda
square.
nerd. You
What
listen
were
to...
you, homeschooled?
Awkward. No, listening to classical and jazz music, it's not something that, like, I'm on my drive to work. Let's turn on some Mozart. It's always like, I'm freaking out a little bit. Let's calm down. Or
Let's
like
put on some Beethoven.
Beethoven. Yeah, everyone's favorite artist.
Beethoven.
Beethoven.
That's not what I had an epiphany. After you go, you come back to me and I have
Yeah.
a thought.
Or things like that. So, while I might not actually be ashamed of it, it's one of those things where if people were like, hey, what's an artist you really enjoy? I'm not going to go, oh, well, I like Mozart's Requiem Mass in D minor because I sound like an asshole. I'd be like, oh, that new Kendrick album's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn was really good.
Yeah, it was
Damn.
really good.
It was damn good.
It was damn.
Yeah.
There's a
What's
lot
yours?
There's a lot of cutouts here.
So damn. So it used to be.
Beaver dam.
It used to.
Damn it.
Damn it. It used to be Taylor Swift,
Hell yeah.
but I
Know
stopped
about
listening to Taylor
that.
Swift.
That's also
Her new
fun.
song is bad.
It's pretty not good.
I never bothered
Um,
to it. Everyone was
that
really
was a lot.
salty.
But not I won't say Broadway soundtracks, but like
Oh, hell yeah.
soundtracks in general.
Yeah.
Especially for like I don't remember what day it was last week, but I listened to the entire Prince of Egypt soundtrack,
Oh,
which is why I wanted to watch
hell
that
yeah.
movie.
Nice, dude.
That's a
I'm
great
all
soundtrack.
about
that
It's
soundtrack
really
is
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Right. But
That
it's
movie
not
sculpted me as a human.
if someone
Yeah.
if like I had someone get into my car that wasn't one of you guys and I like had the Prince of Egypt soundtrack pop up on my car,
Yeah,
then I'd be
that's
like,
true. Let me just change it to something.
sorry, this was
I was
someone else.
listening to this as a joke.
someone else
Isn't
turned
that
this
funny?
It was my friend, he stopped judging me.
Yeah. I did think of one that in that same situation, if I had like somebody strange in my car,
Right.
Um,
Strange.
somebody
strange
strange in my car, and I had one of my like favorite pop songs, "Run Devil Run" by Girls' Generation come on, I would be ashamed of that.
I would
I
be too.
love that song.
I'm not even you, and I'm
That song
ashamed
is
of it.
well, yeah, and that's what made me think of it, because I was like, man, I can hardly even listen to that song like without getting like audibly eye rolled by like you guys and like the people, even Jackie. She's like, that song's not that good, and I'm like, screw you, that's the best pop song I've ever heard.
As someone who like is around, is this 5 people who are pretty into like K-pop and things of that nature. I don't really care for it, but I know far too much about it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm like are you just
Really
counting?
into it, but like
Yeah, I like
I'm including you in the
I
5
like
'cause
anime.
you listen to it.
Freaking nerd.
you know Screw you, man.
What?
Tell me
Anime's
about what
good.
your favorite anime is.
That's another podcast.
That's not podcast.
I was just.
I
just making it
prefer
sound like a fool.
Naruto.
Let me rephrase that.
Shippuden.
Sword Art Online.
It's really not
Sword
another
Art
podcast.
Online has the best designs for the
girls' boobs.
for the girls as they're flouncing around
Best
everywhere.
girl alert. All right,
Diva,
let's go.
Diva's the best
Let's go.
girl.
All right, let's call this quits while we're ahead.
No question for next week.
We
That
could.
was the
That
question.
was
yeah,
the
that was
question.
the
right?
question for next week. My bad.
So yeah, what is
yeah.
your guilty pleasure song?
Tweet us, email us.
Yeah,
Tweet
you
us,
can send
post
us
in the
your
comments.
guilty pleasure.
Subscribe.
Write in the comments. We will read some of the best answers, some of the most embarrassing things, or no one's going to comment, and so we won't read anything. But if you are interested in contributing something to this podcast, whether it's dramatic reading, an idea for a topic, a news story that you want us to talk about,
Content or money.
something, or if you want to give us money, email us or comment or tweet us.
Email money to us.
Tweet us at PDT Podcast. That's it.
At
Or
gmail.com.
Mail a check
email
to
us
pdtpodcast
at gmail.com. Email a check.
Yes. If you want to email
Send
me a
us
check,
a picture of a check.
if you want to email me a check, tweet at me on Twitter and I'll give you our address.
If you tweet a picture of a check with your middle finger, like just pointed at it, then we'll thank
Sponsor
you.
you on this podcast.
I'll give you $1.
No, you won't.
Might.
You can't afford that.
Yeah, you're right.
If you flip us off with a check, then we'll buy me a beer.
Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right, it's got to be a PBR. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Love you. Love you so much.
My Reese's Puffs inspired this rhyme. That peanut butter chocolate combination's on time. Reese's Puffs, 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 Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. Nowadays on cruise control. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. And just like that, I'm on the road. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. Peanut butter chocolate flavor. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. In the AM, it's the flavor I savor. Peanut butter and chocolate too. You know how I do, that's what I wake up to. My Reese's Puffs inspired this rhyme. That peanut butter chocolate combination's on time.